All right. This is Socially Awkward with Evan Lexell, where I interview a different Facebook friend every episode. And thankfully, Stacey Heatlie has allowed me to interview Orrin Heatlie. Orrin Heatlie, if you don't know, is probably one of the most high profile people in California because the governor doesn't like him. So welcome, Orrin, to Socially Awkward. Nice background. I tried to match your background.
I love it. I love it. That's a great background.
Yeah. So, I mean, how is like the whole arc of this entire thing? This is basically, you guys got formed like a year ago, and here we are a year later. How has the journey been?
It has been an incredible journey, an amazing journey along the way. You know, I've met a lot of really great people through this whole endeavor, but we have literally built an entire organization from ground up within a short period of time. We have no less than 75 Facebook groups. There's 200,000 members spread out throughout the state on these groups. Mm-hmm. Those groups they're not your normal social debate club. Okay. These are very, very regulated. It's a communication platform that we use to communicate on a local community level. We have literally 150 administrators. There's 27 regional managers. Yeah. They all take their job very seriously, and they're all non-paid volunteers.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. The thing that blew me away when I first heard about this, and I think someone made like a Imagine video about like they did like a parody of the Beatles, Imagine, or John Lennon, and the website just looked so organized. Like every county was all lined up. Was that a goal? I mean, were you following prior recalls of Governor Newsom when you were like, mine's going to be different? Or
we did a lot of research before we moved into the action phase, and I actually went around and interviewed people that were involved in the Gray Davis recall. I wanted to take the learning points and the lessons learned from those efforts and then apply them and overcome some of the frustrations that people had felt in previous initiatives and recalls as we go forward. Now, the rumor is that there's been 6 attempts to recall this governor, which is BS. Okay.
Right.
There's only been 2 other petitions circulated the state. One started by Aaron Cruz, and the other one started by Dr. James Veltmeyer. Both of those circulated simultaneously. This is the 3rd petition to actually hit the ground and gather signatures. And I'd like to say that the 3rd time's a charm.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, we picked an interesting timing for us to get together on this, because today they launched what's called, I guess they bought a domain name called stoptherepublicanrecall.com, which is obviously a misnomer and is beautifully divisive, as it throws on such terms as, you know, anti-masker, anti-vaxxer, Trump supporter, and all that stuff. I mean, can you attest to this being all a Republican recall? Was this just a bunch of red state people just going together? Like, what do you see about the public?
The entire people from the entire political spectrum have come together to work on this project, not only sign the petition, but to work on the project. I have lifelong Democrats who voted for Gavin Newsom, working in, you know, as a volunteer out gathering signatures. And one young lady in Sacramento, Andrea, actually named her son Gavin 9 years ago when he was born.
I saw that,
because she was so smitten with him as, you know, as lieutenant governor and mayor of San Francisco.
Yeah, and I mean, there've been rallies and signings. I mean, I've helped at my own signings. I've dropped off at houses. I think one thing, I think Mike Netter was talking about this. There was like a rally in San Francisco, and I think you even had, like, to show all populations are in favor of this. You had, was a transgender or Antifa member was on stage speaking in support. Is that?
I'm not sure Bianca is an Antifa member.
Okay.
I know she has connections with Antifa.
Okay.
She is a transgender actress, a wonderful young lady, and in her own right, and a self-professed socialist Democrat,
right?
And she calls herself a Bernie-crat. I actually had a young man who claims to have been Hold on.
Yeah, you went to a B.
Sorry about that. Whenever somebody calls in, I get bumped off, and I'm using my phone, not my laptop right now, so
That's
I
okay.
apologize for any interruptions.
That's fine.
But we actually have a young man who called up and gave us some wonderful advice, and he claims to have been an assistant in the Bernie campaign, a high-level executive or a manager in the campaign who actually helped write some of the speeches. Now, Bernie writes all of his own speeches,
Right.
but when he takes input from other people, and this guy was one of the contributors.
Speaking of Bernie, did you like his meme when he was holding the recall Gavin Newsom sign? Was that one of your favorites?
That was where it was like the Where's Waldo of the Bernie Sanders world, right?
Yeah.
He just started showing up in mittens all over the world, and one of the best was when he was sitting there holding the recall Gavin.
Yeah. He was also outside my parents' house waiting for my mom to get home, but that was something else. One thing I admired, like from afar, I guess you personally get involved in the formation of the California Patriot Coalition. I mean, you're retired law enforcement.
I am.
So you knew Mike, and Mike knew the other people named on the petition, and you guys got together, and like, was there an issue on the top of your list, or what was the origin?
We actually didn't know each other. We met each other during the Orrin Cruz campaign.
Okay.
I was a low-level volunteer, just a signature gatherer during the Orrin Cruz campaign. And during that campaign, and not to say anything negative about Orrin, she's a wonderful person, and I support her politics. She's got a good head on her shoulders, very intelligent.
Right.
But working on that campaign, I had seen that there were some things that were lacking as far as organization and the networking, communication with management and so forth. And I at some point, Mike and I had crossed paths in San Diego at a dinner where we didn't actually talk, but he had reached out to me on Messenger because he was frustrated with some of the things that he saw were lacking in the campaign as well as I was. Right. And I had already built the network, the statewide network, to help out. So I asked Mike to join forces with me, and we began using the Orrin Cruz campaign as a training platform to learn everything we could about the political process, the petition process, and the frustrations that people were experiencing in the field. And then we took those lessons learned and applied those to our business model as we move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were a lot of big things that kind of like jetted this movement like sky high. I mean, I feel like that extension was key. The Sacramento Bee came out with a story with that, and with everything shut down, they gave the extension. Secretary of State didn't fight it, and now they're like, we should have fought it. But
that was a good article. I just read that this morning.
Yeah.
And they could have tried to fight it, but they knew that was a losing proposition.
Right.
It would have put egg on their face, because they would have looked as total hypocrites, double standards, because the Secretary of State had already set a precedent in court on several occasions, not just twice, but 3 times, where they had agreed to Democrat proposed initiatives that were being circulated through the state, granting them extensions. They didn't fight those, so how could they fight ours? We were due an extension under equal application of the law, and we knew that going into the court case.
Yeah, I mean, it was exciting to watch you guys get signatures leading up to the election. Then, I mean, I don't know if you can speak a little about the spokesperson. You brought on Randy Economy, and I don't know what happened since you did that, but that's when I felt like it started to get on, like, major outlets, and it started to get like I guess he just knew the people that knew the people, and he hooked you guys up, because now it's like you have what you needed was what you got. You needed probably money from coming in from out of state or other places, or people concerned, and Democrats to jump on board here. And yeah, it was, I don't know, like what he brought as your only second, one of 2 like paid people to help with the movement.
And Randy, I'll tell you what, he is one of our 2 paid employees. We have a treasurer and a compliance officer who's one and the same, and then
Yeah.
Randy. So we run a very lean ship.
Yeah.
And bringing Randy on was a stroke of genius. A good friend of ours, Susan Walsh, introduced me to him, knew him through political circles and so forth. And I drove down to Randy's house in Palm Springs for lunch. It was a 16-hour round trip for me, and it was the best time spent on this campaign.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, he brings with him a skill set and knowledge and talent that we hadn't seen in the campaign before. And he's good at doing some things that really, I mean, he filled a void in the campaign that we desperately needed.
Yeah, I mean, and I assume, you know, is that his real name? Is it his last name is Economy? Is that like,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
his mother's name is Rosemary, and she was also in politics, and she worked on the Jim Carter campaign.
Oh wow. Cool. Well, because it's funny. I interviewed Mike when we were waiting for the extension. I interviewed Kevin.
You'll never get that time back.
No, I'll never get it. But it's on YouTube forever. So he was good. He's good. He's right. He ran a tight ship with me. It was good. He made sure he kept me on my path. And then then I talked to Kevin when his book came out, the Recall Newsom book. What I like to do is when I travel, I like to put that book on shelves in airport bookstores just to see if anyone buys it. But I do it for the photo ops though also. And now we get you in. This is kind of a weird period, I guess, with a recall opposition account or a campaign being launched. Do we just kind of now just wait for counties to count votes and just see what happens? And we're just kind of in a holding pattern?
Yeah, we're turning in upwards of 2.1 million signed petitions or signatures.
Right.
And, you know, it's going to be very difficult for them to say that we have less than needed to qualify for a special election.
Yeah.
Traditionally and historically in this recall, we have the Secretary of State or the registrar's offices have maintained the status that we have an 83.7% validation rate, which is unheard of on a petition gathering. And I attribute that, our high level of success with the validation and the design of the form itself. We spent a lot of time assessing the forms and going over the different designs and reformatting the signature line itself to where it's user friendly, where the other forms were very confusing to people and they would mess them up. I mean, it was a stroke of genius to put it on 8.5 by 11 paper and offer that as a signing option so people could print it up at home. And I think, we have, with all of that being said, we have one thing and one person to thank for the success of this recall, and that's Gavin Newsom, and he has nobody else to blame but himself.
Yeah, and I mean he's going to be on The View tomorrow, so I don't know if you ask Randy if you can like drop in there as like a surprise guest. I think that would be kind of fun. You've never spoken probably.
Wow, he's gonna surround himself with friendly people they're just gonna be flabbergasted that we want him recalled. And you know what's amazing is that this recall is driven, and I'm gonna have our statistician do up the numbers today, or tomorrow. She's very busy today, but the number of women actively participating in the management of this recall and in the volunteer side is overwhelming. And I would say, just a rough guesstimate, it's probably close to over 85%.
Wow.
Driven by the women in the state. This is the angry bear, the
mama bear,
the mama bear revolt. And he's upset the women in the state, and I'm not sure The View can bail him out.
It's obviously he's gonna work the circuit, but it was amazing. You're following as the past year has been going on. It's like does he want to get recalled? Like now he doesn't want this time doesn't want gas cars. Now he wants the teachers unions never to go back to school. Or now he want he's trying to help us. Like that's the thing. He could have chilled.
Every day. I mean, I take exception to his mass release or his wholesale release of prisoners from the state and county jails, state prisons, county jails. The homeless problem that he's helped contribute to. There's a lot of things that he's done that have pushed this thing forward every time. I mean, signing SB 145, which it seems like that was signed, a decade ago. But when he lowered the penalty for certain sex crimes and reduced the age of consent, in that bill that was written by, who was it? Assemblyman Anthony Weiner.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's the guy.
Senator Anthony Weiner. I
think isn't Anthony? No, that's Scott. Anthony's the one from New York. I know that being from New York. Yeah, it's ironic that those kind of people have those kind of backgrounds, but regardless, that's what's in a name. One other thing I want to point out, like for them to contest it, they really couldn't, because what's the role? You guys, what I also saw was great safeguarding is you had a third party verifier. What's their role, and can they help in a dispute if they say, oh, we only counted 900,000, what could their role be, if any?
Well, there's a procedure afterwards. If they fail to qualify this, then there's a short legal battle where we go in and we contest the signatures that they threw out. But again, up until now, that they've held the standard that we are maintaining an 83.7%. Statistically, they can't go back on that number, and you can't statistically throw out enough signatures given that validation rate with the number of signatures that we've been able to turn in the last month.
Yeah, and you're getting called again. It's okay. My wife wanted me to turn the printer on, but I said later. I said I'm talking to Orrin. Has there been an issue like that when you've gone out to these signings, or you've met volunteers or people signing petition? Has certain issues superseded others that made people want to sign the signature? Or is it just an overall COVID cocktail, or what's it been? What have you seen from the people?
Well, it has grown in momentum from day one. I mean, we started out because he was misappropriating our gas tax funds and had spent $75 million of our taxpayer money to clothe, feed, house illegal immigrants down at the border. Which he just added another 28 million on top of that of late. So he reimposed the personal mandate on you and me, and we have to carry health insurance. And if we don't carry health insurance, then we're subject to penalty and fines in our taxes, where he's given those same services as an incentive to others who don't live in this country to come here and live here to get those socialist handouts. So, and what I found is, traveling the state, there's two things that stick out in my mind. One is the people that are working on this, the immigrants, the people that have migrated to our country lawfully, have come here to escape socialism and escape communism. And the people that are coming here across the border illegally are coming here seeking those socialist handouts that he's given out on a regular basis. The other thing is, the Democrats who I talk to are the ones who are truly upset, and the Republicans and no party preference folks, they kind of knew what they were getting when he took office, and they knew where he was going to take his political agenda. But it's the Democrats like Bianca and Andrea and so many others who are working on this, who are really indignant about where he's taken things, because they feel a true sense of abandonment and betrayal from this governor. Because what they tell me is that, hey, look, this is not a party I recognize anymore. This is not,
Right.
this socialist agenda isn't something that I subscribe to. It's not something that I signed off on, and I want my vote back.
Yeah, I mean, I moved here 15 years ago as a Democrat. I mean, I'd since changed. Technically, I'm not with a party. I didn't renew my membership somewhere, but it's not about that. I mean, you know, deep down, I'd want to find reasons to like Newsom. I'd want to find reasons to still be a Democrat. But if you're not seeing it, it's like how many handouts can you give to a candidate or give to a political philosophy? So it's rough and it's frustrating. And I mean, a lot of my friends have left the state in the last year. And we've, you know, sometimes like SNL did a skit about this where like for fun, we'll just go on Zillow and see what properties are out there in other states and see what's selling and renting for what. So it's a pickle because like I feel like we're kind of like we're a last place state right now. Like we're kind of at the bottom of a lot of barrels. So
and we all know that we need to, you know, restore California back to a state people want to come back to. And they want to call home. You just had you know, Elon Musk and
the Oracle guy from
Oracle and Charles Schwab leave our state.
Yeah.
And I mean, Charles Schwab had his headquarters in what is now the cesspool of San Francisco for decades, right?
Yeah.
So when you have people of that caliber packing their bags and leaving, but then you also have people like you and me who are just fed up with you know, walking to the store and having it just loaded and with homeless, and my heart goes out to the homeless. They are truly suffering. And I had no problem with Governor Brown as he governed the state, other than Prop 47, 57, and AB 109, which are the root cause of all of the homeless problems that we have in our state right now.
Wow.
That might be a story for another day, but I can explain how those three articles of legislation led to the problem that we have today, and how the reduction in the prison population is directly proportionate with the increase in the homeless in our state. And when Gavin Newsom released 20,000 more prisoners due to the COVID shutdown, what he really did in effect was he just flooded the street with 20,000 new homeless with no means of caring for themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, I can speak more to the vaccine issue in terms of what people have run into here in the state, because it's not so much that people are there's no such thing really as anti-vaccine. It's just that's a slander term, and that's right out of the handbook of Senator Pan. But you know, these parents, their kids were hurt once. They don't want to hurt them again, but now they can't go to school, or now they have to be homeschooled, or they want to go to a charter school, but then charter schools are having their funding pulled. So it's tough for a lot of different demographics in the state. So, you know, to speak to some of their slander, which for their Stop the Republican Recall campaign, it's, you know, you can take that apart step by step, and that's just divisive term after divisive term, because, you know, it's almost like a type of a nominal racism, because you're kind of like creating division by instigating that out there. I guess a couple other things I want to ask you. One is, so you were able to get a lot of volunteers. We're happy to show up every weekend, getting signatures. How is there like discussions on like how something like that can be similar to, say, the recall qualifies and we know it's happening, let's say September or October? Are there ways you would activate all the volunteers for to like repurpose them to get the votes? Are those things happening?
And I'd love to talk about that, but I just want to reiterate that, you know, as far as the opposition goes, and you can quote me on this, when you can't argue against the reasons behind the recall,
right,
then you begin to attack the people behind the recall. And that's what this governor is doing. Rather than arguing his stance as to why people are frustrated, he's chosen to, you know, run a smear campaign against the people that are involved. And there's 2.1 million people have weighed in on this recall. And, you know, if you try and just paint over them all with a broad brush, you're missing the point, Governor. And I would love nothing more than to sit down table to table, across the table from him, and socially distance, because I don't want to get too close to that mug. It might be catchy. But as far as repurposing the campaign, it's whatever the appetite of the volunteers have in them for change. Yes, we have an incredible network, and we're not just going to let it die on the vine. There are other projects. This has always been just phase one of this project, was to recall the governor. And then you have to have a ground game going forward and champion other causes and possibly other candidates as we move into the next phase.
Right. Because yes, I know you guys would probably look at some candidates, and I mean, obviously your endorsement to a candidate would be a big deal. One other thing I want to ask you,
I don't think anybody could get close to the Capitol without going through us.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think that the volunteers are going to stand for, somebody that just wants to run, ramshod over what they've done. They feel very strong about, removing this governor from office, but they feel just as strong about replacing him with somebody who they feel is going to unify the state and serve the people in a manner where they're responsive and representative of the people they serve.
Yeah. So you could have like your own town hall with all these candidates. You could host your own, California Patriot Coalition debate if you wanted to. And
as we will, as we will going forward, we definitely are going to invite people to come to the table and debate on our town halls. We have a town hall and a radio show that's very popular. A radio show. Can I promo it on your thing? But
I'll get this up in like the next very soon, so it'll be current.
So every Friday we do a radio show on KABC 790 AM in Los Angeles. KABC.com is where people can listen to that live. And they can also watch our town hall on Zoom. And if people haven't already, they can go to our website, recallgavin2020.com, and they can log in or log their email in with us, and they'll get an invite with the Zoom link and so forth, so they can listen in. And as we go forward, it's going to be very exciting to invite these people along with Gavin Newsom to publicly debate on our forum.
Have any of the people from the coalition ever like had a conversation with him, or have they ever like spoken with him ever, or is it?
He doesn't even return calls to the media regarding the recall.
Yeah.
So he's taken the same stance as he does with the homeless. Just ignore it, hope it'll go away.
Right. And it's ironic because today's like the first day he's acknowledging it, which obviously means less time spent on the state of California. So catch 22. So open it up or don't open it up. But and also a shout out to Tin Horn Flats. I would like to see their power turned back on. So whoever watches this, let's turn their power back on and get their phones back up.
As we're going forward into the fire season, it's going to be interesting to see him argue the point that we need to switch over to all electric vehicles when he's not going to be able to keep the power on throughout the state when the wind blows.
Yeah. One final thing then, when all the dust settles and we've defeated Skynet, how will you spend your extra time? Like, obviously this is because even like for me, like I felt a mild void, like I don't need these petitions anymore, or I'm going to recycle all the leftovers now. Like what's going to fill the vacuum once we're beyond this, or all the phases have been complete?
Well, we still need to secure victory in the election.
Right.
So we're just transitioning from one phase of the process to the other, and going from the petition phase to the election cycle. And, we're going to be out there pounding the streets, distributing leaflets and flyers.
Oh, cool.
Trying trying to get businesses involved with, putting things on their countertop as far as educating the public, getting the vote out. We need to make sure that they get the vote out. I'm sure we're going to have some legal challenges as we go forward that we're going to have to fight. We still need funding to help fight that. Our coffers are low right now, and we're trying to raise the funds. And mind you, there's two campaigns, right? Or not two campaigns, but there's two PACs that are involved with this recall. There's the Rescue California PAC, which is run by political consultants, and they have been very fortunate to be able to, and I'm sorry I keep bouncing out. You understand, my phone is just blowing up this morning.
Yeah, no, and then you're on my podcast. That's the ironic thing. Like, sorry, Fox News, I'm talking to Evan. Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's true. I've gotten some media requests as we're talking. So.
Oh man, well,
hey, you're first priority here.
Oh, thank you. Well, tell Tucker Carlson I say hi. And when you get on, compliment Whoopi Goldberg and tell you loved her in Ghost, and we'll see where else. I mean, hopefully you guys will start popping up in more places, and they'll encourage debate.
Rachel Maddow is going to be calling anytime soon.
Oh, that disappoints my dad.
I don't think you'll see Randy on The View.
No, okay. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Randy and Don Lemon can get together and have some CNN chat. We'll see.
Where were we going with that though? We were on a track and I lost.
Oh, I don't know. I was talking with no, you were just very busy and getting a lot of media requests on
second phase. Getting the vote out, the legal challenges and donations as far as people can donate to recallgavin2020.com. Okay. Their funds are desperately needed. The other PAC, Rescue California, run by political consultants, are they've been fortunate to get a lot of the major funding that they've been able to put towards paid circulators and the direct mailer. Our group has received, $10, $5, $1 here. Every dollar counts. And we've been able to run radio advertising and do stuff like that, but we do everything we can to get the word out there. I would like nothing more than to be able to sponsor some television ads to broadcast it out there to push back on some of the rhetoric that this governor is pushing out there right now.
Yep. Gotta fight the hate. So I mean, I've been just doing this without any like emotion necessarily. It's just like just sign the petition. I'm like, you just gotta. I mean, I'd love to see like some Democrats kind of emerge and be like, this is not okay, and I'm a better option. I think that would help some balance, and I think it put a lot of people's minds at ease, thinking it's not as extreme as it has to be. So it'd give us some options.
You did have one who emerged a month ago or so, and he was very excited about running for governor. And then all of a sudden, he just fell off the map. And,
wow.
He gave to the other political action campaign, lifelong Democrat, billionaire in the tech industry in the Silicon Valley. And then all of a sudden,
the former Facebook person. Oh yeah. That's interesting.
All of a sudden he just disappeared. I think somebody may have whispered in his ear, remember this that you did?
Yeah.
or something. I don't know. But I'm always suspicious when somebody, jumps all in and they realize the water's too cold for them and they bounce right back out.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to see a Democrat, and it'd be nice to see like even like a celebrity just be like, I'm Cardi B and I'm running for governor. Just anything counts. Just to create the interest, because I think just there'd be so many shiny new toys to vote on versus the old worn out toy that doesn't do anything anymore.
The Democrats are going to fight tooth and nail to prevent any other Democrats from putting their name on the list. They're gonna resist that to no end. So whoever does get their name on that list that's on the Democrat side of the aisle are going to have to be a very strong personality, because they're probably going to receive more opposition than I do, or we will. That's a true story. Because they're going to bring the full burden of the Democrat Party, the establishment, the Rusty Hicks establishment, down to bear on themselves. And they're pros at threats and intimidation tactics, and that mafia style rule over their own people.
Right. Right. Well, there's a lot to look forward to, and you have a lot of media requests, so I'm gonna let you get to that. But I want to thank Stacy for letting me interview you, and we'll put this up on Stacy's profile. And it's good that it's just, and it's good, I guess you like bees. So
I'm actually a beekeeper in my spare time. So
oh, okay, there we go. Well, that's good.
it's a hobby.
That's good. So that's what we know. When this is all over, you'll have more time for the bees.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, very nice.
God bless. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Yeah.
Love your background.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thanks for taking the time.